Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dina, and on my channel I talk about all things green, including plant sustainability, plant-based food, and occasionally small business stuff because I have my own macrame business. In today's video, I am going to be talking about moss poles again. We're going to be making moss poles without the plastic mesh, since I know it can kind of be hard to find it, and when you do buy it, it comes in huge rolls. And it's kind of expensive then if you're not going to be using all of it. So we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about how to water your moss poles, because yeah, just making them and putting them in your plant isn't the end of the moss pole. You actually have to take care of it as well to help your plant grow nice and strong. So yeah, let's just get right into the video. Okay, so what you're going to need to make your moss pole is any sort of stake. I think this is just a wooden one and it's kind of bent, but just any kind of stake that you can put into your plant soil. Then you're also going to need your moss. We're going to wet it soon. You're also going to need jute cord. You can get this pretty much anywhere, any craft store, dollar store, Amazon. And then you're also going to need just a glue gun. While that's soaking, we're just going to heat up our glue gun. If you don't have a glue gun, you can just tie this to the bottom like this. It might fall off though, so I always like to glue it a little bit at the bottom. So we're gonna glue one end of cord. Now, I'm not going to be cutting the cord or having measurements for it because it might depend on the thickness of your moss pole. So that's just how I start, and I have it still attached to the roll, so I use just as much as I need, and then so I'm going to put that aside now, and we're only going to use the glue gun again to attach it to the top. So now that we have our stake, we're just going to wring out the water and throw away the water so that we just have our moss. So it's a little bit messy to do it this way, but basically we're going to be taking our moss and squishing it into the cord. Just like this, we have a little bit. You want to start in sections. And then we're going to start twisting our jute cord around the moss. There's no like way to do this. Just kind of try to make sure everything is nice and attached so that the moss doesn't fall out all over the place. Okay, I have a little bit there. I'm gonna add a little bit more now. I usually put it underneath, then squish it around the top, and again, bring this like so. We have the top there. That's all we're going to fit on. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go back down to secure even more. So I'm just gonna take it again, just kind of go all the way back down, and I'm gonna actually glue it at the bottom again. This one looks a little bit wonky, but it works well. So here's what I'm going to cut again. Cut this cord, I mean. And then I'm gonna just make a little knot at the bottom. Like that, and then I'm gonna glue it again. You can kind of shape it again. Like that. And I'm just gonna cut off the excess that is sticking out and use it for something else. Make sure not to cut too deep or you'll cut the string that we just put in to hold everything together. If that falls apart, the whole thing will fall apart. ASMR. Okay, so perfect. And now I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue all around the bottom again of the pole. And we're going to just attach that again. And just cut off the excess. And there is our moss pole. It looks kind of like a shish kebab. Okay, so I have my shish kebab, I mean moss pole. I'm gonna stick it into this wonky plant to hope that it grows a little bit better. So I'm actually just gonna stick it in the very middle of the plant. And we left some of the bottom of that stake so that it could be pushed down into the soil, so that now it's in the middle. And now what I do is, if you have string, or what am I saying? If you have plants that are trailing and you want to help them trail up, I just use like this velcro, this garden velcro. I measure the size and then I just velcro the plants to the pole. This one is very wonky. Hoping that the moss pole will help it grow straight. Do I just break it? Oh my god, I just broke it. Well, be more careful than me, please. I'll just propagate that guy, but yeah, be more careful, maybe. This plant is growing a lot. It actually looked terrible before, now it's actually doing a lot better. This is the plant that I potted in one of my earlier videos. I'll link it right here, I guess. Yeah, just like so. The plant itself is wonky, but it's cute. I can't believe I broke this. I'm so dumb. Okay. So let's talk about how to water moss poles. Okay, so I have my moss pole family here. These are the ones that I made in the last video that I showed you, and this is one from Plantings. I'll link her site down below that you can go buy moss poles from if you don't want to make them yourself. But let's talk about how we water moss poles. So what I do is daily I will go and check the moss pool and feel the moss. So when you squish it, you can tell if it's very dry because it will make like a crunching sound when you squish it. Well, this one doesn't make a sound. I don't know, let me get closer. You can probably tell the difference in appearance too. Wet moss is usually a little bit darker looking, but I just like to do the sound test. So this is dry moss, and this is the moss pool that we just made, and it's wet moss. Basically, your moss, you always want it to be a little bit moist because it's going to help your plant grow. The aerial roots that are growing up the moss are going to want to go inside of the moss and root in there. It will help them root a lot. See? I don't have any crazy roots going on right now because I only recently put these in here. But yeah. What I do first is take any random spray bottle. I fill it up with water. Let me just make sure there's water in there. And I put in a little bit of fertilizer. And daily I will go to my plants and just start misting the moss pool like this. This is what I do on the daily, just because I don't have the time to always remove the plants and do what I do more weekly. So what I do weekly then is I usually bring each plant to my sink. I'll take it out of its decorative pot, and then what I will do is I will just run the moss pool underwater. So I just put on my water. I put it at kind of lukewarm, and then I just go like this. That's how I water my moss pool. If you don't want your soil to get wet, if you recently watered, I try to do this at the same time that I actually water my plants because I like to water them in my sink as well. But if you don't want to water your plants, you can just tip your pool a little bit just to get the moss wet. Perfect. Make it sure everything got nice and soaked with a good soak down. You can squeeze excess water out if you want. It'll just go down. Now listen to the crunch sound. And the next one. Diesel, what you doing? I got this guy here. It needs a bigger pool, but I'm too lazy right now. Sometimes I give my leaves a nice little wash down too, to remove any dust. You can really do everything at once. Don't think of watering your moss pools as a separate thing. Think of it as just part of your routine when you do everything else. The roots are coming out of the bottom already. Alright. This one, it needs to be watered. The moss pool was the one we just made, so it's already wet, but I need to water the plant anyway. It's actually a pretty solid moss pool. As long as you keep it wet and you tighten the cord the jute cord, when you're making it enough, it actually sticks together pretty well. And lastly, I'm just gonna do my silver sword. Okay, so this was just another way to make a moss pole. If you haven't seen my other video yet on how to make these type of moss poles with the mesh, make sure to check it out. But these are two different ways that you can make moss poles by yourself at home. Yeah, I hope this video was helpful if you've been wanting to make moss poles or if you've been wondering how to water your moss poles. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I am fairly new to moss poles. I just started using them like a couple months ago, but I love them and they're so fun to make. So yeah, I will link the video down below for this one, and I'll also link all the materials that I use so you can get them if you don't already have them. But you can get them anywhere you want. You don't have to get them from the links that I share. But yeah, if you want any updates too, make sure to follow me and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.